Podcast Network Asia.
FirstMetroSec is providing this podcast as a general market commentary. Reference to any specific security, product, or entity do not constitute as an offer or a solicitation of an offer to buy or sell any financial instruments or to participate in any particular trading strategy. The statements, comments, views, or opinions expressed by the hosts are subject to change without notice, and FirstMetroSec is under no obligation to update, amend, change, or correct any of the statements, comments, views, or opinions expressed. The statements, comments, views, and opinions expressed by the guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the view of FirstMetroSec. FirstMetroSec disclaims any liability arising from reliance on or reference to any information obtained in this podcast.
You are listening to First Metro Securities Philippine Stock Market Weekly podcast, where we feature timely and relevant discussions on the Philippine stock market and the economy in the hope of providing you investing and trading guidance. Here's your host.
How's it going, investors? Hi, I'm Anjz, an equity research associate from First Metro Securities, where I cover the consumer sector. In this episode of Market Bites, let me share with you our latest company update on Century Pacific Food Inc., CNPF, titled Steady as She Goes. We are upgrading CNPF to a buy call, with target price raised to 37.50 pesos as we shift our valuation base to next year. We made no changes to our estimates, and we reiterate that CNPF can sustain double-digit earnings CAGR in the next 2 to 3 years. In the past 4 quarters, developments in CNPF's operations have materialized in line with our expectations, particularly our call on tuna price correction owing to the El Niño phenomenon. Recall that tuna accounts for roughly 15% of CNPF's cost of goods sold. We continue to like CNPF's long-term investment propositions. First of all, CNPF's core product portfolio is defensive and diversified. They are well-positioned to weather macroeconomic headwinds. Second, CNPF is a leader in brand building and product innovation. Management boasts of a long history of successful brand and product launches which provide exposure to fast-growing segments, such as milk, meat alternatives, and pet food. Third, CNPF is a champion of ESG initiatives. The core pillars of its ESG programs are protein delivery, planet preservation, and people development. And finally, strong cash flow generation and balance sheet are A+. These characteristics are paramount under the current interest rate environment. Our new TP of 37.50 pesos is pegged to 19.3 times FY25F EPS, just above +2 standard deviation of historical mean valuation. Following the stock's inclusion in the PSEI, we expect valuation re-rating to be sustained, especially given the counter's visible earnings growth drivers. On some key risks, you have the following. First, demand destruction owing to macroeconomic headwinds. Second, higher input costs and peso depreciation. Major raw materials such as tuna, meat, and milk are imported and denominated in foreign currencies, largely in USD. Third, rising competition in the value for money space puts pressure on selling prices. And fourth, supply chain disruptions. Again, that's an upgrade for CNPF to a buy recommendation with TP raised to 37.50 pesos. And that's it for this episode of Market Bites. Hope this has been helpful.
Thanks for listening to First Metro Securities Philippine Stock Market Weekly podcast. Don't forget to follow us to get first dibs on our new episodes. For more up-to-date market news and info, exclusive content, and the opportunity to connect with your fellow Filipino investors and traders, join facebook.com/groups/FirstMetroSec and be part of the First MetroSec family.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.